that I think is very much relevant. And but so let's read Do Tezain. Also, does happen from time to time. So let's see. Im ba lebeis haKnesses samuch lekabbalas hatzibur Shabbos. If you arrive in shul close to when the tzibur is going to get to the part in Tefillah where Shabbos is now going to start. So in the days of yore, it was Baruch Hu. In the days of now, it's Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbos, and that's a custom that already goes back a few hundred years. So they're getting close to that part where it's going to be Shabbos. So you know that you're not going to finish your Shmona Esrei for Mincha, or your Friday afternoon Mincha, until they've already gotten to the part where now they have accepted all of them have accepted Shabbos. So we talked about earlier in last week's shir that if you walk in and they're already davening, they've already accepted Shabbos. So you should stay outside. You shouldn't daven Mincha while they're davening their Shabbos tefillah. That's inappropriate. It's a Shabbos place. You should step outside and daven elsewhere. So here he writes, Maschil lihispalel mincha. So you should begin to you can begin to daven mincha. Even while you're davening, you're finishing your mincha shmona esrei. Yikablu hatzibur Shabbos. They're gonna start Mizmor Shil Yom Shabbos. They might get to Baruch Hu already. They're gonna be into Mariv. Ein bekach klum. Nothing to worry about here. No issues. Fine. Why? Because you began at a time when it was permitted to say mincha, because the tzibur was not up to a part of tefillah that they're accepting Shabbos. It's fine. Now this is more of an issue when you go back to a time when they didn't say Kabbalah Shabbos, the tefillah that we love and know as Kabbalah Shabbos, before exactly the five Mizmorei Tehillim, and then there's Lachun Aran, and before these things they said Mizmor Shir. First of all, let's go back in further. They just said Mincha, and then they said Mariv. Then came a time when, or the Mechaber, the Shulchan Aruch already notes this custom, which was to say Mizmor Shil Yom HaShabbos. So, okay, how long does it take to say Mizmor Shil Yom HaShabbos? Even if you say it slowly with a lot of kavanah, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. And we'll get to the custom that they used to say Bameh Madlikin, okay, also a later custom. But the idea is that if you're really going straight from Mincha to Marv, and you're there in the middle of Chazaras Hashatz of Mincha, and you walk in, now you're going to daven your own personal tefillah. By the time you finish, Baruch Hu is going to be said. You can still start. And it's okay if you walk in and that they're going to get out to Mizmor Shil Yom HaShabbos, and they're going to get to Baruch Hu before I take my 3 steps back. As long as I started while it was still whole for them, I'm in good shape. Let's take a look at the Mishnah Berurah's comments on this. Samach Beis. He writes here, Maschil lihispalel velo yamtin ad sheyane Baruch Hu. He says, don't wait. You get there. Oh, you know what? I don't want to miss Baruch Hu, so I want to hop around on the Baruch Hu. Like I'll wait 3 minutes. They'll finish their mincha, and then because again, he's thinking in those days like they go right into to Mariv. So I'll wait and I'll answer Baruch Hu because then I'll chop a Baruch Hu. I don't want to miss the Baruch Hu. Because the problem is you shouldn't do that, because if you do answer Baruch Hu, shuv lo yuchal hispal achar kach mincha, which is a unique problem to Baruch Hu. It's not a problem in Mizmor Shil Yom HaShabbos because there's no response. But when I respond Baruch Hashem Baruch Ilam Va'ed, I have now accepted Shabbos verbally with a tefillah. So that doesn't make any sense for me to do that. I should rather just start davening mincha. We could talk about there's a different halacha about saying Baruch Hu at the end of tefillah. If you miss the Baruch Hu in its correct place. In fact, I know that Nosach Sfard, I think there's it in Edot HaMizrach. They also do it. They Baruch Hu at the end of tefillah, anyways.
They say Baruch Hu
before Aleinu.
Before Aleinu, but that's stopped, right?
Right, it's stopped. So, but if you missed the earlier one, at least you chop the Baruch Hu at that point, and you fulfilled that that obligation. I want to be careful using that word of obligation. But you fulfilled the reciting Baruch. I'll say it that way.
writing applications, what's God.
Correct.
So when they answer Baruch Hashem, is that the blessing?
That's right.
That's
You're correct. You are fulfilling the call to action, right? There was a call to action. Baruch Hu is it's
not the brachos before.
no,
Shema.
no. That
So
moment,
why do we always introduce it before?
because it's almost I'll put it like this. It's almost like the way that the Zimun functions to bring everyone together into this tefillah. We do it in the morning also. You know, Pesukei Zimra is beautiful, but it's a I don't want to call it warm up. It makes it sound it's not quite the same as as Hilchos Kriya in terms of its how this factors into our tefillot. That's why you can skip around in Pesukei Zimra. You're late. You're this. Ideally, you say everything, but if you're not, you can't skip Hilchos Kriya, right? So Baruch Hu is a call to tefillah,
And
and
there's no mistake to Baruch Hu.
right, correct. We go right in because the idea is
Baruch Kriya Shema is something before. So there's no break between.
correct. As we go right, that's the Shemona Esrei. Correct, 100%. So what's the question? Sorry.
So when you say Baruch Hu at the end, like you're repeating it.
Oh, at the end when the Svara didn't do that. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll be honest. I don't know what's the I don't remember. I recall what the function is. You know, the
That's
BJ or
the thing.
Shlomo.
I don't think it's not there's anything smart with the smart Nusach start it'd be different because you're really doing it at the end. Right. So if you have a late comer, they have a chance to make the blessing.
Right.
Because I think where you were going before is the Baruch, right?
That's the
after you say
response.
Baruch, the response is actually the blessing.
That's the
So
what.
it's giving you the chance to say the blessing. It's not
Right.
acting as an invitation.
Meaning it.
So the
But
guy
with-
who
but
comes
with
in-
in the Sephardi tradition, you're doing it with respect to Aleinu. I mean, so right?
Yeah,
So
just trying to figure out what really.
Meaning it made
Baruch Hu-
so there are two purposes, right? One is like there's a call to bless Hashem, and that meaning that gets fulfilled right away.
And then you say Baruch. Yeah.
Baruch-
Listen,
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Elam V'ed. Boom, done. Right now, that became the call to okay, now let's daven. But it's sort of also an independent
It's
purpose,
not daven because it's Kriya Shema, because otherwess we could have said.
right?
Baruch
That's
Hu-
right. You're right. I should use the word daven. It's the call. It's the
Because not
call.
before Baruch Shema.
It's
right.
it's the call to organize everybody to begin this. The Birchos Kriya Shema section. That's like if you.
So that's the question, is it tied to Kriya Shema?
No, how do I know? Because if you daven as an individual, right, you don't say it, and you can still say Birchos Kriya Shema. It's not. It's this idea though that this is the time that there is an Indian here. I'll share the following. Rabbi Soloveitchik was very makpid on this. That if you came, not just you came late to there's a standard halacha. You come late, you should try to catch up with the tzibur. Just say Baruch Shamar Ashrei and Yishtabach, and then meet up with everybody. As they're beginning Baruch. What happens if you walk in and you're not, by the time you get your talis and your tefillin on, and they're and I say Baruch Shamar Ashrei and Yishtabach, they're already like Ezra Sava. They're getting close to Shema Esrei. So Soloveitchik's opinion was actually you skip all of Pesukei Zimra altogether. So make sure you say Birchas HaTorah. Skip all of Pesukei Zimra. Why? Because you should daven with the tzibur all together, and that really means starting at Baruch Hu. So there is this idea of davening together. It enhances the tefillah. Certainly, of course, it gives you the opportunity to do Baruch Hu, Kaddish, and Kedusha. But there is something to the notion of davening together, and this is that moment when we formally organize ourselves back together. As like, okay, we're all on the same page, literally and figuratively. So Baruch Hu has, like, I want to say it's multiple purposes here. So I think for our purposes here, though, when you answer that call at Ma'ariv,
It's
it's Shabbos now, meaning you went back. This is a Shabbos call. This is like we're organizing to begin our Shabbos tefillah. Because if I am verbalizing, as we talked about last week, if I'm verbalizing my with my tefillah that it's Shabbos, right? Because this is a Baruch Hu for Shabbos. That's it. I with my words, I've done it.
Talking about accepting Shabbat.
Right.
One was lighting candles. That was big.
Right.
Like once the woman lit candles, it's Shabbat
For her.
even if nobody else.
Right. Correct. And we talked about when the community gets up to Baruch Hu or Mizmor Shalom Shabbos for us today. Correct.
So The real trigger is Baruch.
That's what it seems to me.
Oh, yes, because we've not accepted Shabbat when the lights.
Correct.
Even if you're lighting him on, and,
Yeah,
instead, right?
correct.
Yeah, because you make a mental note, I'm not gonna do that.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I just have to ask this question.
Go.
So what happens now? I come to shul, I'm late for mincha, but there's still time, but we're now gonna begin davening Marav here.
So the
So I
it's-
shouldn't answer that
it's-
Baruch.
so in it's the summer months, right? So we start early, and if you come late and you can still daven mincha, the answer is no. You probably shouldn't
answer
You
that
probably
Baruch.
should
Yeah,
not answer
very
Baruch Hu.
interesting.
You may actually, and you'll see in a moment, actually, the next comment of the Mishnah Berurah, you may actually want to step out of the room before that happens.
Oh, very interesting.
If you right, but presumably there's no response to say in Kabbalah Shabbos. Meaning, if I'm behind, I'm behind. But when I hear someone say Baruch Hu, I could be, let's say I'm in the middle of Ashrei and Sukkot is Gimel, I still say, I answer Baruch Hu if I hear, the community, the Kehillah gets up to Baruch Hu. But here, by saying Baruch Hu, I've now accepted Shabbos, so now I've caused a problem for myself because now I can't daven mincha. That's the problem. There's no other Baruch Hu quite like this for the rest of the week. Even on Saturday night, you don't have this problem, right? So okay, so they say Baruch Hu for the regular weekday. Great, I'm also going out of Shabbos now.
Yeah.
That's why I said you might want. That's why you might want to step outside. Go to the hallway, go somewhere else. That's yes. Let's take a look at the next Mishnah Berurah here. Samach Gimel.
Rav,
Yes.
if Baruch Hu is the trigger mechanism, and according to the Shulchan Aruch, it says en ze klum, so you have absolutely no problem whatsoever. Earlier we learned if it's a Yom Unan and
Right.
they entered Shabbos. Now I could be misunderstanding this, but if they davened for Shabbos at that point, provided I'm not sure, but provided it's after plug, I'm not sure if it has to be after plug. And then they're allowed to do work afterwards if the clouds go away and it becomes sunny. So they said Baruch Hu, and now they don't seem to be subject to that trigger mechanism that Baruch Hu he just taught us.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, by the way, Simeon. That is an excellent Tosfos-like question. I hope everyone here could hear Simeon. He basically asked the question that wait, we had a halacha before that if a Kehillah davens, they make a mistake, but it's after plag, but they make a mistake and they davened earlier than they were hoping to. Then we don't make them daven again, which means that they're davening, check mark, counted, but we allow them to do malacha, if you remember, according to that first opinion. Okay. So now Simeon's saying, but now we're turning around and saying that, by answering Baruch Hu, so the answer to the question, I think, is very simply the following. That tefillah is a tefillah that was done b'tos in terms of its timing. The rabbis gave us, so I'll put it this way, the rabbis gave a special dispensation that tefillah will count it, but know that really it was not a good tefillah, but we're not going to make everybody come back to shul and daven again as a tzibur. No, you came together once. What a tircha to walk 20 minutes again back to the shul. First of all, you got to get the message out, but so we're just going to let it stand. But really that tefillah was very flawed. It was very flawed, and therefore really Shabbos never started for you. That's why malacha is still allowed. But we'll allow the tefillah. So there was a special dispensation given because of tircha the tzibur to allow that tefillah to still count. But otherwise, it was not a good tefillah. That's a tefillah b'tos. That's why when an individual makes that mistake, they do have to go back and daven again because there's no tircha. You're already in your house. You're not traveling anywhere. We're not gonna make you. I don't know. Have to. Or sorry, in that case, we'll make you do it again, unlike a tzibur. So in this case, you are knowingly answering the Baruch Hu with the full awareness that they're davening Ma'ariv for Shabbos. So there's no ta'us here in terms of what you're doing. You understand where you are. You're going to say, oh, what happens if the guy unknowingly just out of, sheer, he's been trained that he hears Baruch Hu, he answers, that's, there's was a Tana in the Tana or he was a Tana or Amora, who asked too many sharp questions, Rabbi Yirmiyah. So when he asked one too many questions on a certain day, they threw him out of the base medrash. So I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of that question. It's a good question, but it's too sharp.
Just one thing.
Yes, Bruce.
We said that it's important, let's say if you're davening alone, that you start if you can, the minyan davening
Right.
in shul.
Correct. That's
So-
ideal. Yeah.
So there are
Or brachos.
mechanisms for making up a little bit of time with mincha. You could do the contracted mincha like the emergency. You could do tashlumin. You could just, if it's.
Oh,
really
you're saying
important
Havi?
to
You're saying
address,
you're saying
so important to start-
Havinenu or doing Tashlumin?
No, you could, is that contracted in an emergency?
Right. That's the
Don't
Havinenu.
answer,
That's the
right,
Havinenu. Yeah.
Or you can say, if this is so important to daven on Shabbos, we learned particularly to start at the time of the thing. Or you could do Tashlumim and just say, look, say Ashrei, go right to, go do
So-
Tashlumim rather than daven.
Right.
in,
So
but
that's
there was the
interesting. So
congregation.
Tashlumin is always second best. Meaning it's better to daven be Yechidus.
But you're missing the start of Shabbos with the community.
Right. But I'm saying like it's better to daven by yourself without a minion than to daven Tashlumin as a result. Right. So Tashlumin is always the last resort kind of situation. In terms of Havinenu, my awareness of Havinenu in terms of halacha is that we only pull out Havinenu when there's like circumstances, when there are circumstances of sakana, of something that's mitigating your ability to have any concentration for any kind of extended period of time, where like you have 60 seconds, you're in a situation, that's a very dire situation here. Okay, you'll daven b'yachidus, because probably if you're davening Havinenu, anyways you're davening b'yachidus, right? So you'll daven the full thing. If you're davening Havinenu in a minyan, I think that minyan's stretching their definition of of when Havinenu is permissible. So I hear, but I think that those are less preferred options. Yes.
Come to shul. Hear about it because you're just walking. You're gonna go outside. Hear about it. You're allowed to respond. You should respond. I don't know.
So here he's saying actually, as we saw before, right? That well, first of all, you can solve the problem by being the following: if you're in the middle of Shemona Esrei, you're not allowed to answer Baruch Hu. So you actually protect yourself from having to answer Baruch Hu, right? Like if you're in the middle of Shemona Esrei, you can't answer Kedusha, right? You can't. You stop, by the way, and you listen, but you don't answer, right? So same thing. If you're in the middle of their Mincha Shemona Esrei, you started, and they say Baruch Hu. That's the whole point here, right? That's no problem. You aim bekach klum. You started, and it was perfectly fine. Aim bekach klum. So that's also protected. If you realize, and then hang tight here. The Mishnah is going to address the question: what if I could answer, but I don't want to because I have to have a mincha? So he's about to address that in a second. So he writes here, Samach Gimel, V'afal pisha yamtin ad shiana bar. Sorry, V'afal pisha yodea shayodea shelo yuchal ligmor afil chatzi ad tefillah kodem baruch Hu. You don't even finish half the Shemona Esrei before they get to Baruch Hu. They call Malko Mikri Hischil Beheter. That's called I started, when it was permitted. So they're like, doing Kaddish Yosem. They're doing Kaddish at the end of Mincha. Still Mincha. I take my 3 steps forward. I start my Shemona Esrei. That's Hischil Beheter. Okay. Sorry. Lefi she'isur zeh lo shelo hispal tefillah shachol. Look, the whole thing here is a whole chumrah. The idea is that I shouldn't be davening mincha while they're davening Shabbos. It's not right. It's not right. It's a chumrah. It's not. I can point to this, a pasuk or that. It's a chumrah. It's a stringency. It's because of the inconsistency of the situation. I'm in, above my head. That says chol, and everywhere else above there it says Shabbos. It's not right. I shouldn't be in the same room. But it's a chumrah. So here, if I started a beheter, okay, give me a break. Like, it's all chutz chumrah in the first place. I'm I'm catching up. I'm almost there. But he says here, Mikol Makom, though, this is the Mishnah Berurah's advice for all of us. Tov Yosef be'ofen zeh sheyetze lechutz beis haknesses v'yispal Hashem. If you see that you're going to end up in the, they're going to get to Baruch Hu, or in our case, Mizmor Sheli Yom HaShabbos, and I won't, there's a chance I won't have finished Shmona Esrei from Mincha yet. So step outside the room, go to the hallway, you dive in there, and that deals with your question also, Shlomo, right? If it's not going to be clear to me that I'm going to make it, step outside, the door, and that way I don't have to hear them say Baruch Hu. If you need to go further into the hallway, that way you don't hear them. Better that way. But I would say again, if you're in the middle of the Shmona Esrei, then you can't answer anyways. And if you finish your Shmona Esrei and you didn't finish Aleinu, you could answer, because there's nothing weekday-ish about Aleinu. There isn't. Frankly, if you need to skip Aleinu to catch up with the Kehila, it's okay. You'll say Aleinu at the end of davening of Marav. It's okay. So, I think it's a miman afshach, as we say in the Gemara. If you're in the middle of Shmona Esrei, no problem. Nothing you can do. You can't say it anyways. And if you're finished with Shmona Esrei, okay, so you'll answer. If you're Ashrei, then go to the hallway. You'll do it now. Okay, let's go to Yud Zayin. This is, in my opinion, I thought Tes Zayin apparently was more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Yud Zayin, I think, where it gets really interesting. Okay, this happens practically in my house, so that's why I think it's interesting. Okay, maybe it doesn't happen in your house. Yud Zayin. Yesh omrim shemisha kibel alav Shabbos kodem shechashech. There are those that say, this is really the Rashba and a tshuva that he wrote, quoting from Tosfos, that one who accepts Shabbos before dark, so they early Shabbos. Muter lo mali Yisrael chaveru lo asos lo malacha. So he can tell his Jewish friend, it's Amir Ali Yisrael. He can tell his Jewish friend to do malacha, right? Muter lo mali Yisrael chaveru la asos lo. Do for me, right? A malacha. I forgot to do something. I accepted Shabbos already. Can you do X, Y, or Z? Interesting case. And here seems to be that it is, according to this approach, it is permissible.
There's no such thing as.
Whoa.
Amir Ali Yehudi, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. We just see this all the time.
That this comes up all the time.
Well, on the second day of Yom Tov,
Oh,
right?
so that's an interesting question. The second day of Yom Tov, can you tell a Jew to do? Yeah. That's an interesting. So according to those who, for Americans, like let's say, who go over to Israel, and they're keeping that second day of Yom Tov, right? So they a rarer and rarer group, by the way, as BJ correctly points out, it's a very rare group now. The Yom Tov Sheni,
More than what you have to 1 o'clock.
right? So the people who do the half a day thing, which was like Rav Lichtenstein's thing, where you don't do the lotases, but you can whatever. Yeah. So what is the practice? I don't have you. What do they do in Israel?
You ask
Whatever they want.
for whom it is not Yom Tov to do malacha.
So that's the custom that the American asks the Israeli to do something for
I
them.
was
Right?
told.
You can ask, because for them it's mutter.
You can get into a cab, but the cab driver opens the door for you, so you're not turning.
So the cab driver opens the door for you. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. So good. So now.
So Rav, we had previously learned that if you start Shabbos Bismana, and we could play with what Bismana means, but if we start Shabbos in its appropriate time, Amira li Akum is asur.
Good. Yeah.
And here you're saying Amira li Yehudi is permissible.
Yeah, I'm gonna address that in a second, because that's the number one question that should jump off the page and to be in anybody's mind is, if I can't tell a non-Jew to do it though, and a non-Jew doesn't have to keep Shabbos, on Shabbos I can't tell them to do something. So why can I tell a Jew if I've accepted Shabbos and they haven't yet? Why can I go over to the Jew and tell them to do something for me? I can't even go to the non-Jew and do that. But I accepted Shabbat. Okay, good. So that might have to be a little bit. What? Well, let's see. Let's see though. The Ramah says umuter. Actually, at the beginning here, he furthers it. He goes umuter lehanos me'osah malacha b'Shabbos. Not just that, I can benefit on Shabbos. I can then benefit from that malacha that's been done. Ooh, I can ask you, and then I can actually eat the food. I say, hey, I forgot to make one thing. Can you quickly cook some I don't know, a quick steak on the grill. Great, now I can eat the steak on Shabbos. So,
Once left the fresh towels, the back of my block.
and you accept the Shabbos early,
Knocked down the next door neighbors in the sun.
right? And they hadn't done Shabbos. So you said, can you open my car and get the challahs out? And so the Richie's benefiting right away, right? They had challah that night. It's good. So the Ramah says that that's fine. The kol shekain,
It's the same thing. That was just an elaboration. Because if you ask him to do it for you, clearly you're gonna get the benefit out of it. So it's an elaboration.
yes, correct. I don't think the Shulchan Aruch was
Yeah,
no, but what he could have said though is that, let's say I had something in my car that I wanted to protect, and I use Richie's case. I can't use the buttons now. It's like over the neighbor who hasn't. I say, you know what? I had a gold bar in there. And I don't want. I'm not going to use it on Shabbos. You might have thought I could ask him to do something, but I can't then benefit from it on Shabbos. So the Ramah is just clarifying. No. You can then eat the challah. You can then eat the steak right then and there. You may have thought that it had to be a malacha that was related to something that I wouldn't get direct benefit on Shabbos. Ramah clarifies, I can. Now, the kol shekei, the Motzai Shabbos, certainly all the more so on Motzai Shabbos. Let's say someone's Shalashudis is going long, or they, haven't davened yet, Mariv, and said the Havdalah paragraph, so for them it's Shabbos still. But someone else went to the early minyan. They went to the minyan that starts 13 milliseconds after. It's the minyan that ends right as Tzeisa Kochavim. Okay, so they say Havdalah right away. So he can go over to that friend. He already davened him in Havdalah. He can go to him and say, "Oh, can you do X, Y, or Z? I haven't davened yet. Can you do da 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 da?" Lahadlik lo neros. Can you light the candles because they turn, or in our case, turn the lights on. Ulavashalo. Oh, I want to have something delicious for Malava Malka today. Can you cook up a nice whatever? Then I can go ahead and I can benefit from this.
But isn't that?
Pay me really, says the Rambam.
Isn't that a little silly in the sense that if you say I'm out there, you could be done with it and daven.
Good,
Ma'ariv
okay, good,
after.
excellent.
So
Bruce
it
points
takes
out that
1
on the
second.
back end of Shabbos, all I have to do, I don't have to actually technically daven the whole thing. We're going to tell you to do this, by the way, on Purim night this year, because Purim falls out on Saturday, right? We're going to daven mincha earlier in the day. We'll tell everybody when the time for Shabbos and the end of Shabbos comes, you should say Baruch Hama'dil Ben Kodesh L'chol. We do this, by the way, also when Tisha B'av falls out on the Saturday night. Baruch Hama'dil Ben Kodesh L'chol. You'll take your keys. You go and you get in your car. You could do any malacha. Once you say Baruch Hama'dil Ben Kodesh L'chol, you can do any malacha. What are you not allowed to do yet? You cannot eat. For eating, you have to first make Havdalah al Hakos. Even if you said Havdalah, by the way, even if you said Havdalah in the davening, in the Atachonin, you cannot eat until you make Havdalah al Hakos.
Why is that?
Or drink, or what? What was that?
Why is that?
It was Chazal's way of ensuring that it was their way, I think, of ensuring that you did Havdalah. They didn't want you to forget to do Havdalah, so they made and they said you need to do Havdalah before you do anything else. That mitzvah, because why? It's like anytime you have a mitzvah, when it's a mitzvah that needs to be done, you have to do it the right way. Like any technically in the evening, by the way, you're not allowed to eat until you said Kriya Shema. Technically, it's halacha on the books. You shouldn't eat until you've davened at night. You shouldn't eat until you heard Megillah reading. When you have a mitzvah that comes to your hand to do, you're supposed to do that first, and then you're supposed to eat afterwards. By the way, it's even worse if you eat before you make Havdalah and you forgot to say the paragraph of Havdalah in Atachonin. This is a very we'll get to this actually when we get to the Simanim on Havdalah. It's a very heavy knas, very heavy penalty. It happened to me one time, and I did it. I forgot to say the paragraph on Saturday, davening in shul. Came home. I said Baruch Hama'dil Ben Kodesh. So I said that so I could get in my car and go home. And I had it in mind. I said, okay, I have to make sure, And for whatever reason, something was going on. I came home, the kids this, kids that, da 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 da. And I ended up putting something. I said a bracha. I put something in my mouth, and I realized I ate something. So actually, the halacha is if you do that, you have to actually go back and daven Shmoneh Esrei. And there's it's a knas. It says it's very clear. It's a knas, it's a penalty, because you never actually ever verbalize the havdalah. Yeah, you can say Baruch Hamavdil, but you never said the formalized havdalah. And since you didn't even say it in davening, yeah, the knas to go back and say it in tefillah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that still when we get to havdalah. But my point is here that Bruce says, yeah, if Baruch Hamavdil, I could. And why am I asking the guy to do it? I could just say Baruch Hamavdil, and then it's okay for me to say it. Okay, we'll get to Rabbeinu Tam. That's a
Yeah,
good
but
question.
You were talking about the fact that, or you put in a situation where you're extending your Seudah Shalishi.
Yeah, I'm still
So
saying.
that's the reason you're not going to say Baruch Hamad, right?
Right.
Because you're still.
I wanna
enjoying
say-
Shabbat, right?
And I
you
want to
don't
say
wanna-
Ritzay at my during the benching for that.
Exactly.
Good. So I did. So that's why I asked this guy.
What about the rule that you didn't make it on whatever? Yeah, you can still make it as a Tuesday night. What's that?
Yeah, if you
don't eat,
continuously
can't
forget.
eat.
So
You
for
have to
example,
fast, Tommy.
for example, if you so obviously you probably didn't fast in that case, but you still should make Havdalah. For example, I'll give another example where that's relevant. This happened to me. So if let's say you're an Onaim over Shabbos at some point, and so when Shabbos ends, you are not to make brachos. So while Shabbos is regular for you, when Shabbos ends, you do not make Havdalah. You say Baruch Hamavdil and Kodesh L'chol, but you don't make Havdalah. You don't make the brachos of Havdalah. So let's say the funeral is on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, and then they finish the funeral service. When you get home, everyone talks about, oh, you eat the Sudas Havra, the meal with the eggs. Before you start that meal, you should make Havdalah.
Somebody can make it for you?
It's not relevant for you. You don't have an obligation at that time to make Havdalah.
Can you?
So no, you eat because it's like just like anything, you have no obligation in mitzvos, right? You don't say a bracha hamos yilechem in haaretz, right? You don't say you should wash, but you don't make a latzilas adayim when you're an oning. You don't make any brachos. So similarly, you don't make the brachos, and they're not relevant to you. That's why even you don't say amen to them. You don't come to shul and listen to someone else. No, you don't do any of that. No benching. So that's why you really should make havdalah after the funeral when you get back. You should start with havdalah, you don't do besamim. You don't do a nair when it's not on Saturday night, but you would make hagafen and you would make hamavdil ben kodesh ben ol choshech, etc.
There's another thing.
Yeah,
That's not my big practice, but Havdalah is it's like Kiddush. It's like the other end.
yeah, it's the other end. So it comes from the same pasuk if you hold it still, right? So, yeah, right,
There are people who hold that Havdalah is Suda,
right.
and they use the Kiddush, the Havdalah wine.
To begin a new meal of Malav Malka. Correct. Yes.
So there is a tie between that wine and food.
Yes, and that's why
Not we've done all the way, but there is
there's an inyan of it. There's an inyan. It's not necessarily an obligation, but there is an idea. And that's why if you're going to do that, you don't have to say the bracha acharona of ala gefen vel priya gefen, because if you're going to go like hamotzi afterwards, then you're going to end up saying baruch hashem mazman. You don't have to see it like it's compartmentalized. You can see it as the beginning of a meal.
I've seen a Rav who made Havdalah shul in Florida. He would always make Havdalah sitting down.
Right.
Sardim
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
do-
Yeah. I think
Sardim always do that.
Yeah.
We make a dollar sitting down, not standing.
so. Let's read the Mishnah Berurah here
Is that so?
on Samach Daled, and it'll help us give some color to this topic because this obviously is like a very shocking thing if you ever were not aware of this first. Mutar lomar. Why is it? So it's permissible to tell your Jewish friend who hasn't brought in Shabbos. The kevan shel chaveru mutar. Since for your friend it is permissible, there's no issue for them. They didn't start Shabbos. Ein iser amira shayach v'zeh. There is no prohibition of amira liyehudi. There is no issue of that, because as the Shulchan Aruch Harav explains, since it's mutar for your friend. Since for him the idea of that some of you might not like this, but this is the Shulchan Aruch Harav's explanation. He says that since it is permissible for your friend to do malacha right now, and malacha is generally a relevant category of halacha to your friend because he's a Jew, therefore it is not considered as if he is engaging in malacha, in something that's a davar ha'asr, because for him it's mutter. But if it's a non-Jew, and this is the differentiation comes to Simeon. For the non-Jew, there's no such thing as categories of malacha. It's not a relevant topic for them. Mutter, asr, it's not shaykh to talk about that. So when they're doing this action, the only person that it is connected to in terms of malacha is back to the original person who asked in the first place. So it's ironic here that really, when you accept early Shabbos, you can't go over to a non-Jew unless there are circumstances that allow it. A great need, this, something for the community, you forgot something. There are circumstances where you could do that, and there's more leniency in the Bein Hashmashos period or even early Shabbos period. But for a Jew, to go over to a Jew, actually is in some ways easier, because for them the idea of malacha is relevant. So their actions are from a place of heter, not the non-Jews' action, which is coming from a place of isser, because it only stems from me. That's a interesting approach to the whole issue. The Aruch HaShulchan says there's a different reason here why this works. Actually, I want to hold off on giving the Aruch HaShulchan's reason, because he has a whole Torah on this. And I only have a few minutes before they start davening, so just hold on one second, Shlomo. I just want to finish this point though, and then I'm happy to take everyone's questions once they start. We'll have to be a little quieter. So this is when there's time. It's not close to Bein Hashmashos. If we're talking about, it's like right before Shabbos, right before this month for Shabbos. Shabbos is starting actually by what's going on in the sky. Because then once the time for 5 minutes before Shkia, those people are already like in that zone of Shabbos. If you're talking about early Shabbos, it's too late then. And the minority will be dragged along, as we talked about. They're dragged along for the ride no matter what. So therefore, this whole thing falls apart. Now, separate halacha here. Once you get close to that time, close to the time for sunset, don't wait to say Mizmor Shili or Mashabish, or Sharma Amarim Hanogim L'Bomar B'Shvil Kabbalah Shabbos, or if you have other things like what we say, other paragraphs for Kabbalah Shabbos. B'Shvil Eta Anashim Ha'oskim B'Veisam. There are some people who are busy at home. They're finishing. You're going to wait for everyone to come in shul. Right? Oskim Beisam Be'inyanehem Umashin Lavola Beis. And they're late. You shouldn't stop. Like, it's getting close to Shabbos. Take on Shabbos. It's fine. You don't have to wait for everyone to come. In fact, even the Aruch HaShulchan goes as far as say you don't even have to wait for the Gadol Hador or whatever, the Rav of the community, the Shabbat to be Shabbos. The community should go, and if maybe the rabbi is dealing with something very important, very big, you keep going. It's fine. So that's that. And then we got to stop. V'kol shekem b'motzai Shabbos. Why? All the more so on Motzai Shabbos. Perish to have Erev Shabbos. Kvar kibel Shabbos v'yefshar lachazor. Because at least on Erev Shabbos, you can't go back, right? You accept Shabbos, it's not going back. But and Vafilu Hacheshar, even then we say it's okay. Kol shekem Motzai Shabbos. Motzai Shabbos. The whole Shabbos Rotzah Mispal Matil. I can always just choose to daven right now, end it, and do Havdalah. Because shekem Mutar Lomar. It's easier for me to even get myself into to a spot where it's permissible. So all the more so, I can tell my Jewish friend, can you do X, Y, or Z for me? Because I could even do it in a few minutes. It's not like but in the beginning of Shabbos, I'm now prohibited. All right, we'll pause here. Next week we're going to begin Shir by analyzing, and I'm going to read the chunks of the Aruch HaShulchan, how this plays out practically. Right? Can I go? This is practical for me. I daven early in the summers, and then I go home. And I'm home sometimes 7:50, 7:55. And candle lighting is not until 8 something. And assuming the rove of the community is not taken on Shabbos, can I say to my wife, do X, Y, or Z, or better yet, even more? Let's say I didn't say anything, and my wife is just cooking at 7:30. She's cooking still, so it's for me Shabbos. She's still cooking, finishing the cooking process. Am I able to eat that food? That I come home and it's it's fresh. So we're going to talk about that next week, because this is a lot of practical ramifications about taking on early Shabbos where one person in the house does and the other ones in the house do not. And that's a very important halachic tension. There seems to be a lot of room for leniency from the Mishnah Berurah.
Room for leniency.
Yeah, the Aruch HaShulchan here is ironically going to be the Machmir one, who doesn't like this because he thinks that Tosefes Shabbos has its roots in the Deoraisa. He says, how are we to make it lenient when we're perhaps doing a mitzvah from the Torah, which is he really flips it on its head. So we'll talk about that next week. They're starting davening, so I gotta quiet down again. Good job, everyone. Shkoyach. Really.
Excuse me, Rav, did I hear, I believe it was BJ that said that he does Havdalah b'yeshiva?
Yes, he said that.
Okay, I wonder if perhaps next week you might just spend a moment or two addressing that. I understand Kiddush b'yeshiva. I understand that. But Havdalah, I never heard that until this moment.
Right. So he said that that's a star of the custom. I have to look into it this week to Shlomo said the same thing. So we had two staradim here at our shiur who corroborated that this is the in fact the minhag. All right.
Okay. Rav,
Talk
thank
about it
you.
next week.
Thank you very much, Rav.
All
Have
right,
a
take care,
wonderful
everyone.
week.
And Hinda, I'll get you new sheets. You need new sheets for next week.
I'll actually be in New York for that weekend. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Have
you,
a good week.